And there's a young, I don't know, maybe doe, I don't know, heading through the grass over there. I don't know if you can see it with this camera or not. But I'm at Hampton Springs Cemetery, and we're going to start over here because this cat's always intrigued me. I haven't done enough research to know who he is, but for some reason he didn't want to be over here. And bless his heart, the big tree that he was planted under fell over since I've been here, and they took care of it, though. That's good, and I'm glad he didn't come up with it. That can happen. So, and notice, okay, this has been done before. Notice the direction, okay? There's the cemetery, and he's buried this way. Robert Anderson. And he died in 1853. Okay, so he has been here a while. I've got to look this up. I'll try to put something in the comments about him. I find it really interesting. Maybe this is sometimes, okay, so what I thought I was going to say about this, and I'll go ahead and say it is we'll head back towards the cemetery. Pardon my car there. Is a lot of times people will be buried far off because of some issue with them in the community, and that can be a lot of different things, as you can imagine, especially back in those days. But sometimes, I mean, there's an instance of this at one of the cemeteries, I believe in Fordyce, where a whole group of the family had themselves like buried in opposite directions so they wouldn't have to see the rest of their family in perpetuity and stuff. So, you know, the spite is eternal, I guess. Hopefully it's not, but they started fencing these things up a little bit. I don't know, I think around, I don't know, these fences seem to be about the time that I was a young man, and I always remember them. And if you look over that way, and I probably won't go over there today, although this is the Juneteenth weekend, on the other side of that fence over there is the black side of the cemetery. So, and the delineations with these fences did not really come until much later. I think they were kind of it's a lot like the sisters of the daughters of the Confederacy and all that stuff all kind of, came up out of the 50s and 60s and whatnot, and some of the anger over desegregation and some other things. And so, they were definitely separated always, though, but not like at Princeton. I remember, and maybe we'll go there soon, when I was young, there was just a little tiny little wall. I mean, like 6-inch wall between the two sides. Now I believe there's a fence. So, all right. So why am I here today? Lots of, this is a fabulous cemetery. Lots of old plantation owners and stuff in here, and people from recent times as well. And, but I'm coming up to these little flat stones over here because I want to talk about one of the what I call the lost families of Dallas County, and these are the Jimersons. And well, that's what the stone says anyway. Well, first we'll run over here to Wild Bill, or I don't know why I want to call him that, Cousin Bill. This is an interesting one. I don't know who Cousin Bill is, if he was close to the Jimersons or what, but he's buried right here. All right, now the Jimersons. In 1860, there is there's 7 of them that are listed. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, we have a few more. Okay, so, but that was 1860, and they very well could have had children. It was a pretty sizable family. They had if you look at the census record, and I don't have names on these people really, because they one of them was named, the oldest female was named Anne. Everybody else had initials on these. So, and they were actually, their name was Jameson, not Jimerson. And here comes that R, that Dallas County invisible R. Okay, their name was Jameson. They were probably Irish, actually, which is not common around here. You're mostly Scottish if you're, we're settled down here. And I just think that that comes through in our dialect somehow, and then the census takers end up writing it down. Okay, well, this family disappeared. Now, if you're a Jimerson from Dallas County, you're saying, well, I haven't disappeared. No, there are a ton of Jimersons that have come out of Dallas County. A lot of them are in California and in Las Vegas, Nevada, and are just all everywhere. And they're the African Americans that came from this family. This family, from all I can tell, did not make it out of the Civil War. I believe there's an instance of a land record for one of them in 1870, but he did not do well. I think he may be buried here. All right, now why are these stones here? Because they died during the Civil War, even though they were fabulously wealthy. I mean, these were people, they lived next to the Pinchbacks, if you're a Dallas County historian. So that's where their farm was, and they were fabulously wealthy and obviously owned a lot of slaves that ended up being freed and prospering here in Dallas County, and eventually leaving, mostly. I think there are still some Jimersons here. So I don't know any of them personally, though. Dwight, I hope you're enjoying this. Dwight Jimerson does a whole lot of genealogy work for, and mostly obviously the black Jimersons, because the Jamesons didn't make it. So, all right, I hope you've enjoyed that.
Hey, I'm back. Check this out. Here's a little bit more information for you all. I think I alluded to the census. Okay, so this is them in 1860. If you get access to the 1860, I probably should have had this up too, but they're a whole different family, So, but you can see their. I believe you can see the people that they quote owned in 1860, their ages and things like that, and genders. If you look at the 1860 slave schedules, now look at this. This is an immense amount. I just really don't know if I've seen anybody that had this level of income. We'll see if the pinchbacks, because they're right next door, we can check them out and see if they had that. So here's the family in 1860, but the map that I see has this as like the W.A. Jameson, which, I mean, he would be very young, but he might be the only one left, So you can see what we have here. And there, it was interesting that they didn't they used people's initials. Let's see, we can see this is Robert's wife, AG. So this doesn't, here's 7 of them. Okay, now there were, I believe, 11 gravestones, so there's more. Or at least the people that put those gravestones there thought there were more. And there, I mean, there very likely were. They may have had people that passed away before 1860, even. Maybe Anne's husband. Some other situations, I don't know. More children could have died and whatnot. So definitely those numbers were not unreasonable. All right, so but that is I mean, just let's see that. Yeah, she's a female. Let's see. S.J. Jameson. Sorry, it's a little bit slow. That's actually because of the recording, the screen recording. Yeah, another lady. I thought a lot of these were ladies. Pretty sure. Maybe let's see. Let's go through. It's another thing that'll make your family disappear. At least back in the day, because your last name's not going to continue on if you have a lot of daughters. It looks like Mr. Jameson did. Let's see, RB. Now, this is going to be really telling if RB is also female. Sure enough. Okay, let me explain why when we'll look at the very next entry. So in the this would probably, it's either 1863 or 1864. We call it the spy map down there. I guess it was because um, it's a map of Dallas County from the Civil War, and it's got everybody's. I mean, not everybody, but it's got most. I mean, it's got my folks. Even their farms are listed on it, and it's highly accurate. I have no idea how that map maker was that. Oh, wow, female as well. Okay, I'm definitely this is very interesting. Okay, so I thought WA was actually going to be a male because that's who the farm shows up to on the spy map. Okay, so that's interesting. Hmm. Maybe Ann is a W in some way too, because that would or a G. I don't know. That's interesting. I'll have to look a little closer. That map is it's hard to read. It's really hard. If you didn't know you were looking for a Jameson by the pinchbacks, you wouldn't have found it. So this isn't something that just jumps out at you. Excuse me. I find this interesting. Buck Bluff. I've never heard of that place, and I need to see if I can locate the post office. All right, so let's look at one more thing. But anyway, well, there's one reason why they didn't make it out of there, right? There was no way these people, if they got married, their names disappeared. But there were a lot of people buried there, and so that's interesting because it probably wasn't war deaths. If it was from so it was a lot of disease during that war. Most of the soldiers even died of things like cholera and smallpox and stuff, not wounds. All right, so let's see their neighbor. Got to keep up with the Joneses, in this case, the Pinchbacks. Now, Pinchbacks made it. I think I'll in another video, I do actually go and look at some of their gravestones there. So if we can get this pulled up. So is it good? Here we go. All right, so here's the original. Okay, so here's them. See if there's anything in there. He was listed as a farmer. Wow, I mean, that's a tremendous amount of money. He had a lot more than the guy next to him. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Let's look at the pinchbacks here. So this was, we can look at the translated version. Oh, yeah, there's Alexander. I looked at his, both of these people in a subsequent video. I have their information. So that's, wow. Yeah, they had even, I knew the pinchbacks were really rich. And this was a fabulous amount of money back then. He had a mill, and I think that was probably part of it. So, but there you go. Okay, so, and the Pinchback family did actually stick around after the war. I don't know. I don't think there's any around anymore, but if you're a pinchback listening to this, let me know. That would be really interesting. I know where your place is. We can go find this. So anyway, so there we go. I hope y'all find this intriguing.